Okay, so we're gonna start the meeting. We have Sue Ann is here, Ken is here, Alan and Sharon are here, the two of us are here. And Rob is on one phone and you're on the other.
You want Ken to call back on that phone, so in case Jim calls in,
We could do that.
Not worry about it.
It'll come through.
Oh, it'll come?
It'll come through and then you'll have to not accept or fool around with
Well, I'll get the number that it comes, we'll get the number that it comes through on and we'll just give it to Sue Ann,
Okay.
she can call on this one.
it.
All right, Jim Long is gonna try to call in Sue Ann, so if you
Okay.
don't mind,
Yeah, sure.
we'll shoot him over there. All right, so let's take a look at this. We have agenda items. First thing is to take a look at the minutes from the last meeting, which you people were given, I believe, I don't know if they're in here, but we did have.
Yeah, we got them last week.
We got them last week up by email. If there's no problem with that, then we will take a motion to accept the minutes as sent out.
Yes.
Anyone want to motion
I
that?
move that we accept them as sent out.
Second.
Okay, Sue Ann
Thank you.
and Ken second. Any further discussion on them? None?
No.
Okay, so, thanks, Rob. All in favor of accepting the minutes as sent out? Okay, it's unanimous, all right. Let's move on to the agenda items. The first agenda item is the 2020 Bicentennial Committee update. There was a nice opening gala on the 10th at the Town Hall in the auditorium. The next event is going to be in June, so I told Alan to take a day off. Ken is here if he has anything to add. Did you have a meeting this week?
No, not that I went to.
Not
no.
that you went, okay, so, but there's nothing new, right?
No, my only question on all of this is that the mailer,
Right,
Yes.
Yeah.
I got mine yesterday.
we all
Yeah.
did, we all did, yeah. Yeah, the mailer went out. You know, that could have been error on our end, or it could have been error on the post office end. A lot of times when they do bulk mailings and stuff,
I said.
you really can't nail them down. You
Yeah,
can't,
they-
you can't get them to
Could have been earlier.
do, they could have been earlier. So, yeah, that was the only hang-up on that,
No, it's on speaker. It's okay.
yeah. And so,
Well, this is the next to do Friday night.
excuse me? No, it happened
It
already.
was.
It happened.
It was on Friday.
It was on Friday the 10th. The problem was that the mailer with the invitation to that and also the list of everything else that's going on this year came out yesterday in everybody's mailbox. So if you didn't get
So I
there,
had it on my calendar for this coming Friday.
nah, it's
No,
Friday,
it's-
January 10th, and
That's the snow date, I think.
that was the
Or no, the
kickoff.
snow date was the next day.
Yeah, I think the snow date was the 11th or something. Anyways, so the problem was it didn't come out in time. However, everything else is listed here, and it was, and to be, fair, it was listed in the newspaper several times, and it was on the town website, and it was on Patch and other things. So, you know what, in my heart of hearts, I have to say, I'm sorry that people missed it, but you can't read. I mean, it was out there, right? I mean,
It was a full
Yeah.
house across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sold out.
The gala afterwards, the reception afterwards was by subscription. That was very nice of the Darien Arts Council to host it along with the Darien Historical Society. They were very happy. We had a nice mix of people there. That they did sell out also. Apparently they cut it off at a certain number because maybe for fire reasons or whatever, but whatever. I don't know all the details about what was given gratis and such, the food and everything else and all that, but my understanding was the food was from Palmer's and there were other donations too. But very nice turnout all around.
That
And
lists the donors on the back. too.
yeah, and it does list the donors on the back. So everybody should have got one of these. I think there's another one of these mailers going to go out just before the June events start to happen. The next thing that happens is June 6th. Saturday is the Weed Beach Fest Bicentennial Bash. They're going to combine it. 6 days later, on the 12th, we have Slauson Cemetery, Hanson Road, the Anniversary Day celebration, and then the next major thing is Saturday, October 24th at the Darien Historical Society, Heritage Day celebration and reenactment, Darien Historical Society and the Mather Homestead, featuring the 5th Connecticut Regiment. So, things are looking good. So much for that. Is there anything else anybody wants to add?
Well, they had great weather.
They had great weather.
They had great weather
Didn't
and a
keep
good
anybody-
turnout
Yep,
to start off.
yep. And they sold a lot of their hats
Shirts.
and other paraphernalia and stuff. It worked out pretty neat. So if there's nothing else, I'll move on to the next thing. All right. Veterans Street Sign Committee update. They have, at this particular point, I got a letter from Lucy Berry.
It's here.
And what did she say, Karen? She said that she's
She
got,
said she has 3 additional applications, and I sent her one last night.
okay, so that's 4.
Yes.
Good. And the subcommittee will be meeting in the coming months to consider the applications, make a recommendation for the next nomination, which is planned for around Memorial Day. And I think that process is working very smoothly. Thank you to the committee for your input and for Lucy leading it. And thank you, Terry and Alan and
Lisa's
Sharon.
doing an excellent job.
I think she's done a great job, really.
You know, it was
Yeah.
good, she initiated the whole thing, and
We need more volunteers from a town like that to do things. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Speaking of which, cemetery committee update. You guys have a cemetery committee update here. I'm not gonna go through it piece by piece. This update, this overview for January 2020 was basically prepared for, there are a couple of people who are interested in trying to help out with the cemetery committee from the representative town, from the Republican town committee. And so they had spoken to Tracy, and Tracy and Sharon got this together. And this pretty much just sums up what they've done so far, and also which cemeteries they are involved with, and what they're gonna be doing in the spring. In order for them to do something in the spring, they would have needed money. I managed, as I mentioned last meeting, I managed to get the $4,000 that we had not lost, but had gone back into the general fund. I managed to get that extracted and attached to them, so they have money to start with in the spring. We also put in a goodly amount for next year, $30,200, I believe,
which
something like
hopefully
that.
won't get cut again,
Yeah, which
like
hopefully,
it has been in the
yeah, which
past.
hopefully won't get cut for cemetery cleanup and stuff starting in the next fiscal year. But they should have enough to get the stuff done that they have to get done with in Slauson Cemetery and the
But
other
it would look
cemeteries.
really nice if the cemeteries looked good for the bicentennial.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a real plus for the
Yeah,
town.
I think, I mean, I look at some of the signs, like when I look at the signs that are up in Westport, if you go in Westport, if you stop at some of those on the post road, first of all, they're immaculate, the cemeteries. Second of all, the sign is up there, and the sign says so-and-so cemetery, and then it says maintained by the Garden Club of Westport or some other sponsor and the town of Westport. So it's a hand-in-hand, operation, so it's a public-private venture there, so.
There's a very small little cemetery over by the Parkway, as you're getting on the Parkway. Is that owned by the town?
The Parkway where?
In Darien?
Off 120, off
By
106, or off one?
Yeah. Down by exit 35. Down by,
Oh,
35?
yeah, by 35, the one
Yeah.
across the street, no,
no, that isn't, okay.
no, that's not.
36.
36.
36,
Yeah, it's where you get on,
yeah,
the
36,
entrance.
off Route 106.
Yeah, so
So
no, that's not.
Talmadge. Is it
No.
not the Talmadge one?
Oh.
Yeah, it's at the bottom of
Oh,
Talmadge
it
Hill.
could be Tom,
It's at
okay.
the base of Talmadge Hill.
Oh, so
Yeah,
that's
somebody goes in there and maintains that every once in a while. We have not gone there yet.
How about the one across the street from Rock's Ridge?
That one is maintained
I
by,
know, but.
that's
who's-
Andreas White, and that
That-
one is maintained by the people there.
Oh,
They
okay.
want the same people that clean from the wall to the road right across the street from their houses.
But
Yeah.
there's one across from Oxford you can't even walk in that has poison ivy up to here.
Which one? The Andreas White one, the one directly across it before you make a
It's
left-hand turn
across
on
from the
Oxford?
White House. I don't, can't even
So
read the
those
sign.
are all private ones then?
That one, Andreas White is actually not, it is not private. It is another one that is maintained by the town.
Once they're
But,
abandoned,
but
they belong to the town.
it's, at this point, is being maintained by the people that live there.
Okay.
Okay, the people that live, Jewett, that live next door, and there were some others on that strip, they used to keep it cut. Somebody would go in there and cut it and stuff, and it was always
Oh,
pretty
you're
trim.
not talking about the same.
Am I,
No,
am I
I'm in
correct,
Oxford
James,
School.
that it doesn't have to, it is not necessarily owned by anyone? In other words, if it was private and it was abandoned by the owners, then that gives the town the right to pick it up if they
Yep.
want it.
Right.
But if they don't want it, it just hangs in limbo.
'Cause I
That
actually
can
saw
happen.
one day, they had a funeral there.
Yes, it's an active, some of these are active.
Yeah.
I
So I
mean,
was surprised to see.
I mean, but if there's no cemetery association or anything of that nature, for instance, the cemetery behind the Masonic Lodge or in the new area there,
It's
that Bates Cemetery, which used to have a connection to the First Congregational Church, Jonathan Bates Cemetery. Gordon Jolliffe's mother is buried in there, okay, and that's one of the most recent, if not the
And
most
every
recent
Mother's
one that's
Day
in there.
puts,
He puts flowers on it
Puts
and
flowers
stuff.
on it.
So there are still some descendants in the area who go in there and, do stuff every once in a while.
They don't
But that's
maintain
now,
those.
that's now being maintained by the Masons and by the company that Fletcher that came in there. They rebuilt the wall around and everything else. It's a slow process to get people to, to grab hold of one
I
of these
thought
and
if
work
they
on
were
them.
abandoned and had a veteran in, it was the duty of the town to take it.
It is. There is a statute that says that
I know.
if there's a
That's what I'm
veteran
saying.
in the cemetery, veteran's gravesite in the cemetery, that veteran's gravesite must be maintained, and I forget the wording exactly, but it must be maintained as to the standard of what a private grave site would be maintained as.
For a veteran.
For a
There are
veteran.
veterans.
Is that
in-
just that veteran's gravesite, or is it the whole?
Just-
I
It's
think
basically a veteran's
It's a
gravesite.
veteran's gravesite, but I
Veteran's
think
gravesite.
that would be difficult to eliminate the rest of the
It
cemetery.
is interesting to note when we talk about veterans in cemeteries, and I sent this letter out. I have a copy of a letter that I pulled from the archives of the Darien Historical Society, and the letter is from 1952. And the letter was addressed to the then first selectman of the town, okay, who was Thomas Kerrigan. And it basically listed, and it was from a group of veterans in Stamford years ago. And they basically said, all these people are veterans that are buried in your cemeteries. It's approaching Memorial Day. Could you guys get them cleaned up so that we could put honors on them and stuff? That was 52. All right. The Darien Historical Society had a cemetery committee in 1959, which was a committee of the Darien Historical Society. And they published in their 1960 yearbook a listing of all the cemeteries in town, all of them. And it told who owned them, who were the town's responsibility. It gave exactly what kind of shape they were in, okay? And if you were to look at that 1960 document and look at the cemeteries that we had in town prior to Sharon Kells and Tracy and their group taking over, it would have been the same. Nothing had really changed, which is unfortunate. Now we're improving because we had an active group that was working on the cemetery committee. We're going to need more people in town to volunteer on cemetery committee. You do not have to be actually even from the town to be on the cemetery committee. And you don't have to be a member of this particular body, but the cemetery committee as a subcommittee of this group could use your help because, people wear out after a while, and even though we have strong people who are running this group, things can change rapidly and we don't have any control over that. And so therefore, please keep in mind anybody who's listening on the outside, volunteer. And you can do that by contacting the selectman's office.
I need
Yeah.
a clarification. The cemetery that's up on the hill, Mansfield, just before you get to Oxford.
I know.
Is that one that's private or?
No, that's another one.
That's an abandoned.
That's another abandoned.
That's the
Yeah,
one I was
and
talking
nobody's
about.
maintaining that at
No.
all.
She was talking about that one.
That's the one I was
And
talking
I
about.
was talking about
He was
the
talking
one
about-
across from Oxford
Yeah,
property.
that
Let's talk
I-
about
it.
that's very visible.
Yeah.
Yes,
But every time I go up Mansfield, I look
Yes.
and there's a
That's a-
tree that's over the wall.
that's a Waterbury.
And it's overgrown.
Yeah, Waterbury.
That's a Waterbury, right?
Yeah.
Waterbury.
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
Waterbury, yeah.
Tracy and Sharon tried to go in there, and there was so much poison. They went in and spread poison ivy killer,
Yes,
but the
yes.
poison ivy was waist high, and so they never quite got there.
That's up in Key Wake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I don't think anybody's been in it in years because there's so much poison
It's
ivy.
very overgrown.
Yes,
Okay,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
just
it
curious.
is. You're right.
but
It's
yes,
very-
that's the one I
It's very
was.
difficult to get to. because
Yes,
where
that's the
you're
one
gonna
I was
park.
talking about.
Yeah, you have to park on the winding road
hill.
going up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only 4 or 5 houses up there, but still, So, that's the deal there. Anything else on
That one
cemeteries?
really needs help.
Yes, it does.
Okay. This is the next thing, candidates for Grand Marshal and Speaker for Memorial Day 2020. This is important. I have an idea of somebody, I have a couple names in my head. I'm gonna wait until the next meeting, and at the next meeting, I'm gonna ask, by the next meeting, I would love to have anybody who has any ideas for anybody to be the Speaker or the Grand Marshal, to please email them to Karen, so that she can compile a list. She'll give you a written list, and we'll number them, and we'll talk about them then. I don't like to be talking about putting people's names out there on TV when we're
So that's
discussing
someone knows
who's
their
gonna.
second choice.
Yeah, someone knows their second choice or
I
something.
would want him.
Yeah,
or
I
her.
don't want to do that. So please, would you please, everybody, think hard, somebody you know in town, or somebody you've seen in town, or somebody you've heard in town that you think might be a good speaker and a good Grand Marshal. Look, Grand Marshals normally have some connection to the military. They're patriots, okay? That is usually our very, very limited criteria for that. The speaker, obviously, we've had people who are in the military speak. Sue-Ann has spoken, and her husband, and Chris Pintaro, and many, many others over the years. I would entertain any and all names. People just have to get them to us. We need something to pick from, all right? So let's do that for the next meeting. Let's try to get them, shoot them into Karen, email them right to her. Let's talk a little bit. Now I have Memorial Day Parade and Memorial Day Ceremony Overview and Preparedness. And thank goodness we have Terry, who has a facility with a spreadsheet. And if you take a look at the Memorial Day copy 2020 timeline for the chair, the prior year parade synopsis and report filed with Monuments and Ceremonies Commission. He has done that, all right? And Terry, these dates are all for this year, right?
Correct.
Okay, good. So he has done that. There were a couple little nuances. You know, we had some, like who was going to pick the speaker up and all that stuff, and a couple of other things. None of that do we have to get into detail with right now. But let's take a look at this. We have our current year's chairperson. Our current year's chairperson, thank goodness, is Terry, and that is confirmed. The next part is the very important part. Initiate committee volunteer requests. So what we need is, we need people to help Terry on the parade that day. Invariably, we are running around at the last minute trying to get some people to commit to, watching a division or taking care of a division. So we really need about 6 to 8 people who we can count on for that day. So if you are interested at all in working with Terry on this as part of his committee so that he can delegate some things to other people to do, my suggestion is that you email Terry directly. And Terry, you want to use the parade email on any of these communications?
I
Yeah,
used
absolutely.
Okay,
it,
so
I used it this morning,
okay, so you used it this morning. All right, so with the parade email is what now?
06820
06820
May Parade.
May Parade.
I'm not at a computer, but I believe it's the other way around. I believe it's May Parade 06820, but I'm not in front of a computer.
Okay. Karen will look it up on her phone.
I can't look it up.
Or,
on
no,
my
she'll
phone.
look it up later. All right, but we can get that. That will be sent out to you tonight, to this committee, the commission rather, tonight. That the direct contact email to Terry so that you can communicate with him back and forth on anything that has to do with the parade.
Terry, did you get that name this morning that I sent? I don't know if you looked, from the Congregational Church. They want to be present and participate.
I did, yes. I'm at work now. I saw that before I came to work.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I will send her an answer back when I get home tonight.
Okay,
Great.
just so you got it.
So just to go through this quickly, and I don't want to, we don't have to go through this with a fine tooth comb, but these are things that the parade chair, look at how many things here have to be done by the parade chairperson. And contact Darien Technology Foundation regarding the live stream during this month. Provide email, password, and access to the parade Gmail account. Prior year's parade chairperson already has that. We will supply the email, an email address to everybody on the commission
It's,
so that they can,
I found it. It is the 06820 May Parade at
Okay.
gmail.com.
at Gmail. Okay, so it's 06820 first. and then May Parade, Terry, all right?
06820 May Parade.
rayparade@gmail.com. So anybody who wants to get in contact directly with the parade chairperson, general public or the commission, that's your email.
So, Dave, I don't know if I put on that list, but,
Let's see.
because I think this falls under monuments and ceremonies, not under the parade chair, that if Karen, if you can push out to the press seeking volunteers and put that email out to the general public in the newspaper, that would be terrific.
For the-
Yes, we have
For the parade?
yeah, I think we have something from last year or something like that, don't we?
I don't know.
If not, we'll have, yeah, we'll do that.
I
We'll
can write it if I don't
we'll
have it.
tell, the email, the article, so say something along the lines of, we're already preparing for the Memorial Day Parade and
We need
cemetery.
volunteers.
And we need volunteers and/or if you want to contact them, we'll put that out in the public. Okay? We'll do that to all media that we can get it to. That's a great idea.
What do you want? You want setup and division leaders, what else?
Well, it's mostly, getting the placards up the night before,
Mhm.
and then herding the cats down at Goodwives the morning of. Basically, ideally, we could use up to 8 people.
Right,
Okay.
one in the front, one in the back, division leaders and followers, tail gunners and lead.
We used to have that.
Yeah.
Very beginning.
So
Okay.
that's what I said, 6 to 8, we're gonna need there to do that. And certainly the Sunday afternoon before, that's one thing. It seems like, sometimes there's a lot to do, but it's really, that
Let's
day
just-
before is very
there is.
important because you
Yeah.
put those
It
signs
doesn't
up.
take that long.
Doesn't take that long to do it if many
We
hands
did
are
it
there.
like in an hour's time.
Right, we did it last year,
And
we had a
the
bunch of us,
bunting.
it was good. Okay, so we're moving ahead with the parade first, okay? And basically, some of this, that as I go down this list that you have given to me, Terry, I will take care of with the...
This is fantastic to have.
This is great. I will take care of this through Karen with the main office, with the selectman's office, because there's there's things that the selectmen initiate for us.
Like
For instance,
insurance.
Like
So
insurances.
So, I was waiting for this meeting, and so I will go over to town. I'm off
Okay.
tomorrow, so I'll go over, I'll see Linda tomorrow.
Good.
Just to make sure that we're on the same timeline.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you can
And I'll do the same, TJ Wright over in the police department last year was very helpful too. So I'll just shoot an email to TJ and Don, the new chief, to let them know that we're starting up.
Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Interesting.
I appreciate it. So, notice by the 15th of February, we're confirming the Grand Marshal and Speaker. I'd love to be able to do that the next meeting. So if you've got any ideas, let's dig deep and come up with them, and get them to Karen so that we can put them on a sheet of paper, number them, and discuss them. Okay. Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna say that we need not go through every single one of these things at this particular point in time. However, should something have happened to Terry, this tells you who the responsible party is to do every single thing that has to be done for the parade. So this is a real, recipe for success here. So that's why I think this is such a valuable thing. When we come to the next meeting, I will be going, as I did once before with you a few months ago, I'll go through the whole procedure for the cemetery ceremony. Because, as we have said, I will not be doing it this year, and somebody else will be doing that. So I'll try to set it up with who contacts each person, who gets the podium, who gets the bell, who gets all this stuff. That's for the cemetery proper, and I'll do the same thing that Terry did here for the cemetery ceremony. Is there anybody that has any questions on this at this point? And we now all have this in our possession, and we know that we can jump in at any point and take care of this. All right, thank you, Terry, for doing all the work you did on this.
And for volunteering to do it
And for
again.
doing, and for volunteering to do it again. Thank you. All right, let's take a look at the last thing that's on here, that's attached on here, which is just the room requests and where we're gonna be. The next meeting is February 11th in room 206. Sue Ann, is that, if that's school holiday week or something or anything?
I don't if it's not till the next week.
I thought we
February,
looked at that, but I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe not.
I don't know how
The
soon.
the February break is the next week.
Next week, okay, that's good, so February 11th, and it's room 206. All the other meetings are in 206, except at the end of at the very end of the year, October meeting's in 119, and the November 10th meeting is in the auditorium. That may be because of voting or something like that, I don't know. So that takes care of those things, all right? As I said, this was a meeting today that
Isn't
didn't have,
October the only one?
there's two. There's one that goes into the auditorium, and the one after that
Oh, I
goes
see,
into the auditorium.
Tuesday goes in.
Yeah, the 10th. Okay,
November.
so is there anybody that has any questions about the Memorial Day Parade or Memorial Day Ceremony at this point? In the Memorial Day Ceremony, we're gonna have to get hold of, we have to decide who the chaplain's gonna be, we're gonna have to decide who the speaker's gonna be. There are a few things that have to be, there's a few things that have to be done, like, we have to get the flowers, the wreath, and such.
And put the bunting up.
Put the bunting up beforehand, that's the thing that we do
Get the
for the
reviewing
ceremony.
stand.
The reviewing stand put up, we have to request that from Park and Rec. The reviewing stand and the dais that is in the cemetery have to be placed. This will all be on my list, like Terry's list, that I will finish in the next.
Talk to the library in case it rains.
Right, and I'll talk to Alan Gray at the library because he's always good. This will all be part and parcel of my list. I cannot guarantee it'll be done on a spreadsheet. But it will be readable. All right, so that's that. Okay, number 6, and the last thing we had on here is Monuments and Ceremonies Commission membership and recruitment. I'm feeling that I should put something in the newspaper that tells what we do as a commission and ask for members. Because some people were saying things like, that, oh gee, I heard from some of the recruitment people, and they were saying, oh my, it's a lot of work and everything else and all that stuff, a lot of meetings. It's really not. We don't meet in the summer. We meet 10 months out of the year. We don't meet in July and August. We do 5 major things that we take care of. We take care of Memorial Day Parade and the Memorial Day Ceremony. We take care of June 14th Flag Day. I'm already collecting flags for that. And you can drop flags off at Linda's desk upstairs. She won't be thrilled, but she'll take them for you, and then she'll give them. You should call me, and I picked one up today. It was huge, a massive flag, but it was ripped, and all that. I don't know where it came from. We do June 14th Flag Day. We then do the 9/11 ceremony, and
Veteran.
then we do Veterans Day. So 9/11 ceremony and Veterans Day fall, and Flag Day all fall on the same days each year, June 14th, 9/11, and 11/11. So those things we do. We are not in any way, shape, manner, or form officially involved with, except as volunteers if you want to, the Reach Across America program, so that has nothing to do with us. So besides the meetings and some committee work, and if you want to get yourself involved in the cemetery committee, which would be great because we could always use people there, we're in pretty good shape. But we need volunteers to fill some of the vacancies here. And unfortunately, people think that it's onerous to join on. It is not. It's not that hard to do that. Do what we have to do. So I'm asking the public, I'm asking Democrats, Independents, unaffiliated Republicans, I don't care what you are, you live in this town, you can be on this commission if you apply to whatever group. Apply to the DTC. I think David Bain used to be in charge of is he the one that's doing recruitment there? He does that for unaffiliated and for Democrats. Please contact him. And I believe Jim DeMark and Ray Slavin are the guys for the RTC. And please contact them. I mean, I think you can go to their websites and find some of this information. Yeah,
I could tell you that from experience of going to some of the meetings, going to the town meetings, it's unfortunately just so hard because I echo what you just said in terms of what this requires
Right.
to talk to people in town.
Yeah.
And like when the rubber meets the, when people
Yeah.
say like, I'm interested, I'm enthusiastic, I care about the town, and then when you're like, do you wanna come to like one meeting once a month, every thing, and not in the summer, they're like, and like it's so,
I know.
even, like when you go to the DTC meetings, like the same people volunteer for the same thing, like, and I don't know if that happens in
I
the
think it
other
happens in
meetings
every
around
group.
town,
I
so.
think
So
we're
it's,
running into
I don't
that
even
now.
think it's a failure of communication on your part, but unfortunately, I think there used to be much more of a sense where people lived in towns and belonged to groups and things that did something civic minded, and it's just not.
It's hard now.
It's-
I think it's hard to get volunteers now. I think you've seen all organizations, all committees, all commissions. It's tough to get volunteers. I was thrilled that the 2020 Bicentennial Committee had the following that it had, to get its committee up and running and stuff. Because we started that over at the Historical Society, and we had a nucleus of people there. Then we opened it up and became the 2020 Bicentennial Committee, but we already had this nucleus of people there. But all the people that joined from the town that were not part of that original nucleus is fantastic, because you got a whole bunch of people that were involved in it. Same thing with the Veteran Street Sign Committee. It's a little simpler to run, and it's better to keep it smaller and more compact. That works well. Cemetery Committee needs some warm bodies, needs some people. No joke intended.
I think the Bicentennial Committee
Yeah.
had an end.
Yeah, and
It was
that's the
a
other
one-year
thing.
commitment.
Yeah, and I'm sort of hoping that those people will join our other committees. Don't you think?
That would be nice.
That'd be nice.
But we honestly also, we talk about, like, I know in the DTC, we literally talk about like the same, like, what if we described every committee and like told everybody what it was, and like, you feel like you have to break down. And the funniest thing is, I always say to people is like, I always say to people here, when you go to the gym is full.
Yeah.
Even when people don't even commit to the gym,
Yeah,
they're like, you know what I mean? They're like, so
I know
to
what
me,
you
it's,
mean.
and I'm not saying you don't care about fitness, but I'm like, you're committed to something, and it takes a lot less time to go to this one meeting where. So I don't want you to think it's a failure on your,
Well,
part
you know what?
to.
I sometimes think of what else can I do? I could, to be perfectly honest with you, I mean, I could come, I don't know when you meet, when the DTC meets and the RTC meets, but I could come to a meeting and explain and answer questions if somebody wanted me to, because this is not that, it's not as bad, and I mean, it's not as bad as
Yeah,
There was-
I would say, I think that's a good idea. I would advise maybe to talk with Ray and Jim about the right time to come to an RTC meeting and just give an introduction about what it is we do, because I do think you'd have a little bit more interest when people hear about it and understand what kind of stuff we're responsible for. So if you want me to arrange that, I can do that too.
Get in touch with me, let me know what the story is, because I don't mind coming and spending, a half hour talking to people, or 10 minutes, or whatever it happens to be.
Yes, ask Ray and Jim.
Yeah, but I would be more than happy to do that anywhere, I mean, either side. So much for that. Let me just talk about elections. I think we need to change leadership here. I'm not talking about Terry, but Karen and I will be at some point stepping down. It seems to me that we need to, sooner than later, have an election for officers to at least replace Karen and me. Okay? So I would suggest that if anybody has an interest in doing this, and this will take 5 minutes to do. I mean, we'll just have an election and a meeting. We could do it next meeting, and we can do it in February. I'd be more than
I was
happy.
hoping that they would have some new recruits.
Yeah.
So that when you had an election.
Yeah. You'd have more, yeah.
And you could have somebody in training, like, see what we do, and it's not that difficult, although I'm finding it more difficult. I mean, this is getting quite cumbersome.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But I would think we should, before another meeting or two passes, I think we should change leadership. I think we should, Karen and I will step down, and we'll just be active votes and vote for whatever. Okay, but we need people that want to do this. Somebody's got to want to take the reins. And
publicity in the
And if
minutes.
somebody doesn't,
Huh? Well, I mean, you know, my life on this commission is finite, okay, because I have responsibilities elsewhere and stuff at this point.
Okay, I'm just bringing up.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to tell
You
you.
know, if nobody steps up,
Yeah.
then there is a problem.
Well, it's gonna fall on, then if nobody steps up, then it's gonna fall on the remaining officers, Sue Ann and Terry, you know, and whoever wants to help them out. The intensive job is secretary. It's not my job. That's not hard. I'm sorry, it just isn't, all right? This is hard. What she does is complicated, and she's gotta keep all the people happy and such. And, you know, what she does is remarkable because she gets the publicity out and she does all this other stuff.
Well, I still have a memory.
So, yes,
Because-
so if you're talking about something that's a job to do, but if you have a facility with computers or with electronics and everything else and with media, you may be at an advantage even beyond what we are at this point, because even though we have the background and knowledge on it and so on, there are probably things that we do that take longer to do than they should. I'm just speaking for me, I won't say we. I know there's things that I do that take longer to.
Well, I didn't
They
like putting
shouldn't,
that
you know,
spreadsheet particularly.
Because these two fingers on that keyboard, no, that's, all right, that's it, all I have. That's it, you know, no thumbs, guys.
Anyway, we've had a good time on this commission.
We-
I have anyway.
I've enjoyed the heck out of working with everybody in this town, and
I work
especially
with
with the
so many
group that we
different
have.
people
I mean, it's just,
on this.
I just think that it's time, and I think it's time for a new
I
leadership.
hate to see Chip go, who was my
Yeah.
buddy on the beginning.
Yep,
And my father.
yeah,
Yes,
yep,
Lynn
exactly.
Hanks.
Yeah, Lynn
Yep.
Hanks.
I have a picture of all of us together from 1992.
Going back, I mean, I've only actually been
I was 4.
an active member of this board for 12 years, of this commission for 12 years. Karen's been on since its inception back in 1992. I was always a hanger-on because when she was there, what was I gonna do? I'll stay home? No, I was always there anyway, taking a picture
Yeah,
or
so I
whatever.
finally said to him,
You
you may as well
finally
do
said,
it.
why don't you just go on the committee? Commission, she said, and that's when I got on it. But the people that we've worked with, I mean, if you go back and you look at the groups the people that have headed this thing, Phil Morehouse was outstanding. He pushed it through. The beginning, it was Hank Sanders, who was our first selectman, who started the whole ball rolling with it as a committee, and then we got into it as a commission
Oh,
with
that was
Phil
hard.
Morehouse. We had to get accepted as a commission, and then Phil Kraft taking over. I had big shoes to try to fill and stuff. And you know, when you look back and you think of it, it's been in existence for 28 years. It's only had 3 leaders. When does that ever happen? I mean, you know, so it's time, all right? And I'm just saying, you know, we can vote at any time, okay? But somebody's got to step forward. If somebody steps forward at the next meeting and wants to take over,
Yeah, please
okay,
think-
and stuff,
please
we
think
would do
about
it then. Because it's time to make the change and get over it. The biggest thing that somebody's gonna have to do in the next 4 months or 5 months is get their head wrapped around the fact that somebody's gonna MC this program in the cemetery, okay? And, you know, at this particular point in time, anybody on this commission is fully capable of doing it.
I was thinking it didn't have to be, because
No, it doesn't
other
have to.
towns, selectmen do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I've
another
been
thing that
watching.
happens, yeah. We've checked it out, and it's been good. So, we don't want to leave anybody in a lurch, but we'll be out of here at a certain
We
point.
don't wanna leave.
We will be visiting
Not the town.
for months. No, we're not leaving the town. We are not leaving the
They're
town.
not moving.
We're just
I
going
got
to
tel-
visit for months at a
I got
time,
telephone
that's
calls
all.
from people asking me if my house was for sale, so
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
no. So let's keep that in mind. So 2 things we need to do for the next meeting. The candidates for Grand Marshal and Speaker for Memorial Day Parade and Ceremony. And if you can find anybody, any place, in Neat or Nero or any place else that you're going to that has an interest in this, talk it up to them. I'd be more than willing to, as Rob suggested, talk to the RTC or the DTC. Whatever. I can explain to them exactly what we do and what our history is. But we do need more members on a commission. We are at this particular point at 11. Karen and I go off the commission. It's going to be down to 9. Your quorum's 8. Okay, so you don't want to, you're on a thin edge there. I do know that, for instance, that also, as I said, that the cemetery committee is going to need some people very soon. So let's keep that all in mind for the next meeting. Other than that, I really don't have much more, and it's hot in this room.
It's warm.
It is really well. We had the window open before. Oh my gosh. You know. So is there anything else to come before the commission at this time? If not, I will call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So
Second.
moved. It was a tie.
Second.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you'll second. Very nice. Good. Beauty before. No. So Sharon made the motion. Ken seconded it. And any discussion? All in favor? All right. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Terry. Rob, get back to me whenever. All right. I will. I'm pretty much in contact with Ray once in a while too, so I'll talk to him too. All right.
I can coordinate that.
Okay. Thanks a lot, pal. All right. Terry, thanks a lot.